Welcome to the Cover 2, episode 70, presented by Tigervision. I'm Patrick Neal with Grayson Mann. Yes, you heard that right, episode 70. Big time milestone, some would say.
Crossing them all. We're checking them off the list. We've been doing it since September of 2021.
Oh yeah.
70 down. Let's do it.
Yep, there we go. Real quickly, we do want to give all our prayers and thoughts out to everybody being affected by the shooting that happened at the Super Bowl parade today. Just terrible news to hear. And yeah, all our prayers and thoughts out to them. But yeah, the Chiefs did win the Super Bowl this past weekend, Super Bowl Sunday, 25-22. They beat the 49ers. And that is now 3 Super Bowls in 5 years for Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, and the Chiefs organization. So Grayson, your thoughts?
So the Chiefs become the first team since New England in the early 2000s.
You just had to shout that out.
Oh, this was just the choice for the day. But they're the first team to win 3 out of 4 and this is the modern era of salary caps, convergence of offense. So much has happened, and the Chiefs really don't have any reason to believe they shouldn't be back next year, in my mind. They're going to probably upgrade at wide receiver. They're going to upgrade. Probably. They might lose some defensive pieces here or there. And I think the big takeaway for me was, despite the fact that San Francisco felt like the better team for, I think, 70% of this game, all it took was one little mistake for Mahomes to pounce on it, and then the Chiefs' offense that was dead for a good bit of this game comes alive. Mahomes makes magic when he needs to, and then final play, you give it to 15, good things happen.
Yeah. Mahomes is firmly, I think, supplanted himself as top 2 quarterback at this point. I mean, interchangeable with him and Joe Montana, but he's 28 and has 3 Super Bowls. We talked about this a little bit last week, but his legacy at this point, and there was so much talk about dynasty. The word dynasty just kept popping up over and over again. I know Nate Burleson did an interview with Mahomes pregame, and dynasty was the word they kept using. But it really is a dynasty, and whether you like the Chiefs or not, I mean, I think they've become a little bit less likable. Maybe. Because they keep winning. Because of, some people love them more because of the Taylor Swift thing. Some people hate them more because of the Taylor Swift thing. And that's a whole nother thing.
It's a good social experiment. You put 12 people in a room and have that be the central discussion. 6 people will say they love it, and 6 people will say they can't stand her.
Exactly. But the Chiefs had a simple goal this game. Put the ball in Patrick Mahomes' hands. He is going to lead this team to the Super Bowl. Him plus the defense. It's the youngest defense in the league. Like you said, they may lose a piece or two. They may lose Chris Jones. They may lose L'Jarius Sneed, who was a fantastic corner for him this season. But they have a lot of pieces on this defense, and they're just going to continue to get better. But this is the worst, at least the worst offense that the Chiefs have had since Mahomes has become a starter, and it did not matter.
Not one bit. And you saw, and I felt like when we talk about the conversation around Mahomes is that he's currently the baby goat, chasing Brady in this league. And I think for players to assert themselves in that greatness category, there's certain things that they have to overcome. And you look at this year, it's the league. They led the league in drops. They had an interchangeable rotation. Rashid Rice, he's a nice player, but I wouldn't consider him a pure number 1 receiver on most teams.
He could still get into that. He was only a rookie, but
yeah,
for sure.
Travis Kelce getting older, he had some drops down the stretch, and then in the Super Bowl alone, he has to overcome a 10-point deficit. Travis Kelce with the elder abuse on Andy Reid on the sideline, having to all these different things, and yet still he finds a way to prevail and come out on top. I was left thinking this was his best ring that he's won so far, and the key word is so far. Because I think we're going to get at least 1 or 2 more out of him. I
mean, they had to face probably, 2 of their toughest opponents they've had to face in the playoffs, in the Ravens and now the 49ers. The 49ers, one of the best built rosters ever, at least in terms of, they had, I don't even know how many All-Pros.
I think it was 10 or 11. It was ridiculous.
How many Pro Bowlers. But just the 49ers were fantastic all season. They come up just short again. this team was built to win this year. And while they're not losing too many, big name guys to free agency necessarily, you have to think this was by far their best chance to win.
And we said this with Baltimore 2 weeks ago when we did our AFC Championship and NFC Championship breakdown, that regardless of how Kansas City was Super Bowl champions this year, they're the best team in the league, this was still their weakest form, I felt. And they had the 10-point lead. It felt like it was an eerie, at the beginning of the game, and there's so many different ebbs and flows to it. I personally thought with the way they were attacking Mahomes and making him uncomfortable at the line of scrimmage, it felt like the Bucs Super Bowl for about a quarter and a half, where they just were getting after him. He threw the early interception. They go down the double pass to McCaffrey. I thought, okay, Shanahan's in a similar spot that he was in 2020. What does he do? He gets away from the original game plan, puts Brock Purdy, as much as I think he's a good quarterback, 3rd and 12 situations consistently against that pass rush was not going to cut it. McCaffrey only 80 yards rushing on the game.
But he had 80 yards receiving as well.
That's right. So they found a way to get him back involved, but it felt like too little too late, especially when you're up 10-3, 10-6. The defense was playing phenomenal. And once again, the game got away from Shanahan.
Yeah. I remember talking with my friends who I was watching the game with. Third quarter, I'm like, this is going to sound very like LeBron-like. I knew Jason Tatum was going to be the best player in the league or whatever he said, or like the Marcus Rashford commercial or whatnot. But the 49ers kept getting opportunities to go up big and they'd kick field goals or they wouldn't get anything out of the drive. And when you do that against Mahomes, you go up 10, which is a lot of points. It's 2 possessions at least. But you do that against Mahomes, it was like, look, the fourth quarter is going to come down. The Chiefs are going to be down 1 possession, and Mahomes is going to, lead them to victory, as he does every single time, because he's inevitable, just like Thanos.
He is. He's collecting the Infinity Stones, or maybe Brady and Mahomes have he's lending an empty gauntlet to Patrick and saying, "Hey, go fill this up, champ." And now he's got the Reality Stone, if we're following the movie. So now he's got to get the Soul Stone, which he's
taken the soul. He's ripped the soul out of a lot of fans from a lot of different teams. So
it's been really impressive, and I think the thing that points out to me is that Mahomes led the team in rushing yards too.
Yep.
And he did this in the last Super Bowl. Is that it was the plays with his legs, and I don't view Mahomes as a dual threat because he's a quarterback that likes to stay in the pocket and he likes to decipher the defense, rip you apart with his arm. But when he has to use his legs, it's like you're almost like, wait a second, he's pretty fast. And
right.
he's got that second gear he had. I think it was a scramble in overtime where he was like 20, 25
4th and
yards.
1.
Yes, and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? And it doesn't use it enough, and I think that's probably just for career longevity's sake.
Exactly.
But when he needs to use it, it's a pure weapon.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. The Chiefs don't need to rush him. They don't sneak him anymore because, he's gotten hurt on a QB sneak before. But when it's the Super Bowl, it's the last game of the season, you're going to do whatever it takes to win. And you're exactly right. Mahomes can, when he needs to rush, he can rush very, very effectively. He can use his legs very effectively. He's faster than a lot of people probably think. He always seems to get just enough. And like I mentioned, he's inevitable. Like, you're talking about the Soul Stone. How badly do you have to feel if you're the rest of the NFL seeing this was by far Mahomes' worst offense? All the metrics say that this is his worst season. He doesn't have Tyreek Hill, who everybody is saying is the best receiver in the league. Could have potentially won MVP or gotten some MVP votes if, a few other things went their way. If he gets 2,000 yards receiving. And it just doesn't matter. Whatever happens, he can be in any situation and it doesn't matter. They still win the Super Bowl. That's got to hurt so badly.
Yeah, and they did those on the road too. This was the first road trip or trips in Mahomes' career in the playoffs against Buffalo, a team that we thought, and I personally thought, could outscore Kansas City and give them a little bit of work. Baltimore, defense flying around the field. You thought he had, every time we thought, okay, what is he going to do to overcome this obstacle? He's got a different answer because they won in so many different ways this postseason too, which is what championship teams can do. Is we can win 6-3 or we can win 63-60, and not that we having 60-point games. That'd be awesome for just entertainment purposes. But once again, we're sitting here filming another episode of Cover 2, talking about. I think this is our second Mahomes Super Bowl in our show, and it's history.
Yep. So we had last year, and then the year before was Rams Bengals.
Right.
So it's 2 for 3 with us filming episodes here. So I'm not a Chiefs fan, so it kind of stinks, but also you have to respect the greatness. You have to respect Andy Reid, explaining his football terms with corn dog, with the nuggies.
I respect that.
From Wendy's.
The Wendy's nuggies are good too.
What were your thoughts on the commercials? I kind of thought they stung, to be honest.
I thought they played it. Usually the Super Bowl commercials, and I guess we'll completely shift from game to entertainment value of the Super Bowl. The only thing that really stuck out to me was the Deadpool 3 trailer, and that's just because that's my last hope for Marvel. Fan. And yeah, they're pretty good.
Yeah.
Ryan Reynolds. But the Super Bowl commercials, not one memorable one that really stuck out to me.
No, not at all.
A really questionable Volkswagen commercial.
I may have missed that one.
It was the 1940s in Germany. That's all you need to know. And just felt like they played it really safe, or I wasn't paying attention. It didn't feel like it grabbed me or sucked me in.
Yeah, dude, the prime Super Bowl commercials were like 5 to 10 years ago. Since then, last year there was maybe 1 or 2 okay ones. This year, I'm trying to remember just the commercials in general. Beyonce had one, but it wasn't.
That one was fine.
What was it even about?
Like the different Beyonces. I think she was trying to go viral.
I think it was Verizon.
Maybe.
Like you said, Deadpool. I remember seeing Deadpool, but that could have come out at any time. So
yeah, that's a movie trailer.
It isn't like a Super Bowl specific kind of commercial. Budweiser, Bud Light had one. Really bad commercials, I'm going to be honest.
I was waiting for the dog commercial, like the sad one that gets you thinking. The reflective ones. There was one, I think 2 or 3 years ago it was like one of those, it was either an Apple or a car commercial, and it got me thinking. I can't remember what it was, but you get like one reflective piece, and these commercials are expensive, so I was like, why not pour more into it? I think the T-Mobile one, the one with all the different actors, it was like Bradley Cooper and the guys from Suits doing auditions. That one was pretty good, but I think that was because of the star power.
Yeah, at this point, it's kind of similar. You mentioned Marvel. It's kind of similar to how they just throw things at you with no substance behind it.
Boom.
It's a whole bunch of fan service, a whole bunch of celebrities. There's no substance behind it. No funny jokes, no nothing. And it kind of stinks.
And if there are jokes, they're not funny anymore. That's another.
Exactly.
That's why we need Deadpool.
It stinks.
It stinks.
Halftime show.
Don't like it.
What were your thoughts?
I actually was the vocal minority within my Super Bowl party. I liked it. I didn't think it was that bad. Everyone was hating on it. I thought it was kind of funny that Usher was getting all over Alicia Keys and the drama there.
Yeah, Swizz Beatz has got to come at him.
And he looked like RoboCop for a second, and then started skating around. I just thought it was kind of goofy, and I liked it.
Yeah, we got to do the play-by-play here. So he starts off on the field, no set.
No set. They're walking on the stair. They're walking on the. And I thought for once we got rid of the fan. Like, how they have the plant fans in each halftime performance, and they're all doing the same thing. And I was like, oh, they finally got rid of it. I was like, thank you. And then I saw them in the background, and I was pretty upset.
Yeah. So they start out with that. They start out with on the field, like, oh, this is a little different.
Yeah.
Maybe they didn't quite have the budget this year. You never know. There's some dancers doing flips and stuff. That seemed pretty cool.
It felt very Vegas-y to start, so it was in theme.
Yeah. A lot of randomness.
Yeah.
But, he gets on the stage. Alicia Keys, great performer, great voice. I thought she was a great addition.
Did you notice that first note?
I heard about that, but I didn't notice it. I may have just missed it.
I didn't either until someone showed it to me.
The audio also started off with Usher, kind of weird. You couldn't really hear him. But they fixed that throughout. Swizz Beatz, if I were him, I would have probably killed Usher by now.
I think he tweeted out that the music wasn't that good. He said Usher's music's not even fire for real.
Yeah, regardless, if I'm him, I'm doing more than just making fun of him on Twitter because...
Are you sending a hit out or something?
Yeah, dude, I don't know what Usher was thinking. Maybe it was like an in-the-moment thing.
He saw his opportunity, and I think my favorite tweet of the night was, I don't care if millions of people are watching, I'm body tackling Usher on stage right now.
Yeah, you're doing the Will Smith thing, but probably worse because Alicia Keys, very good-looking woman, and yeah, if she was my wife, I would be very, very mad. But regardless, music, they brought out Lil Jon, they brought out her, they brought out Ludacris. Ludacris's afro was looking great, by the way.
It was something else. Then they went into it turned into a mosh pit at the very end, and I just had no idea what was going on.
That was great. Lil Jon was great. The rollerblades, like you said, were also awesome. That's hard work. That's a good idea.
I was impressed with the background dancers with the skates that were doing flips and stuff because I've been in roller rinks before.
Yeah, I've been to Sparklers.
Fallen on my face so many times. So I respect the hustle and a difference of ideas there.
Yeah. Usher also was shirtless for a little bit. I was like, okay, that's fine. Maybe because he's so sweaty.
He was hot.
He was sweating through the shirt.
It was Clemson in September on Saturday afternoons.
Yeah. Walking to class especially.
Ooh,
First few weeks of school,
Good luck.
that's brutal. You get the back pat sweat.
Yeah.
And so the back of your shirt is just sticking to your back. It's terrible.
And so maybe that's why he took his shirt off.
Maybe.
And then my biggest disappointment is that they didn't play the DJ Scott's Falling
I was about to say the
or
same
the
thing.
Minecraft parody.
Version. I was going to say the same thing. Yeah.
No Captain Sparkles. Oh my God.
Terrible. That's who his special guest should have been.
They
Captain
robbed
Sparkles.
us. All I needed was to hear a little reference to it, maybe pan to a creeper. Oh man.
See, that would have been even just like a little maybe like, Easter egg is what I was trying to say. I couldn't think of anything.
For the people that know, and there's a lot out there who do, and so I did myself a service and I listened to the parody on my way to class on Monday.
That's great. See, the thing is, I know a few Usher songs. I know all the most popular ones.
I didn't know some of them that he was playing.
And you got to get DJ Fallen in Love, man.
Yeah.
Or bring out Will I Am for OMG. I mean, there were just a few misses, I think, in the catalog that, look, last year Rihanna, fantastic catalog. I knew all her songs. She didn't play Disturbia, which I kind of didn't like, but
She was killing it, though.
she had so many other great songs that it's okay. I forgave her for it. But Usher, objectively, you don't have the same catalog as Rihanna, so would have liked to have seen OMG and DJ Goddess Falling in Love, but...
And we know they're watching the show, too, so just take some notes and get ready for the 2025 halftime show.
Speaking of the 2025 halftime show, it's in New Orleans. A lot of people are saying Lil Wayne. That would be awesome.
So sick.
He was recently interviewed,
That'd be
I think,
cool.
by Taylor Rooks about it. And he's like, yeah, I would love to do that. He said he wouldn't bring out any features, though, because it's his show.
I respect that. I mean, hey, it's his thing.
I do, but objectively, Lil Wayne has some songs with fantastic artists. So I personally, greedily, would love to see him bring out artists. But
I would love to see just a halftime show. I need, because usually they're all bangers and certified classics. You got to bring out like a variety. And so there are people in my party that had no idea what he was singing, and then people that were diehards that were singing along and dancing and then left right after. That's what I don't get. I have a gripe. Who leaves the Super Bowl at halftime and doesn't watch the rest of the game? I don't understand this.
did people do that?
Yes, like half of my party did. They left.
Well,
So
did
there's
they
like-
go like just
They went
go
home
back
to bed.
and- Oh, they went to bed. They didn't finish watching the game?
As far as I'm concerned, they didn't watch the rest of the game.
Well, that's terrible. I don't
That
know
is
why you would do
a
that.
sin.
Super Bowl halftime show, I'm gonna rate like a 6 out of 10.
I'm gonna give it yeah, I'll agree with you there. I can't give it a 7.
I'll give it a. I'll agree with you there.
If only we like get like the instant graphic there, which says my like quote there, and it's the I don't know Jim of cover 2.
Well, yeah, that. Hopefully, Lil Wayne performs next year, and that would be great. But long-term pictures for both of these teams.
Okay.
Talking a little bit more football.
Before
we get out of here.
Let's start with the loser and then finish with the winner.
Yeah. So where do the 49ers go from here?
I think that the valuable thing is, and the big question was, that if Brock Purdy had really just completely lost it in this game and played really bad, I think the 49ers would be, because they've been known to make big swings at the position. Like Garoppolo, serviceable QB, got to the NFC Championship and the Super Bowl the year 2 years prior. They go get Trey Lance in the draft, and then you have Trey Lance doesn't work out. Okay, we'll just roll with the 7th round rookie. He plays well. He's the quarterback. So if Brock Purdy had not had his best game, or it looked evident that they lost because of him, then I would have not been surprised at all if San Francisco either signed a QB in free agency or made a swing in the draft, just because that's who the ownership group is. But I think Purdy's their guy, and they have him for a couple more years under this rookie deal, so they can afford to make some salary cap moves, I think. I would try to restructure George Kittle's contract a little bit and see if you can re-sign Greenlaw and Fred Warner, who were fantastic.
They were fantastic.
And Greenlaw injured his Achilles on a celebration.
Yeah.
That was unfortunate.
You hate to see that. They should also probably try and re-sign Chase Young, who's a free agent.
He had a great Super Bowl.
Jawan Jennings is also a free agent, so
great wide receiver,
those are probably their two biggest off-season free agents that they have to re-sign if they want to. They also let Steve Wilkes, their defensive coordinator, go.
They did.
So
maybe they could go Belichick.
Belichick is potentially the rumor, which would be nuts.
That'd
to
be
have
an
Kyle
incredible
Shanahan
staff.
calling offense and Belichick calling defense, but regardless.
And I think with San Francisco, I think they'll probably be the betting favorite to be the NFC representative next year. I wouldn't be shocked if they were. We'll see what they do in free agency, but as of right now, I think it really stinks that they have lost now the Super Bowl in virtually the same way twice.
Yeah.
But I think they've got. I think if Purdy makes a leap in year 3, it doesn't have to be super significant because of the team they have. But they got CMC. They've got the weapons around there. They got Shanahan. They should be at the top of the NFC, if not making a run in the playoffs again. And if you disagree, I'd love to hear. But
no.
Concur?
I concur for the most part. You may give Brock Purdy a better contract just because he's probably earned it, but other than that,
I'd say I would agree with that.
He's, the cheapest QB in the league.
He's making $1 million a year living with roommates in San Francisco.
Skylar Thompson's making more money than him. So
that's crazy.
Maybe you.
Daniel Jones is making more money than
get
Brock Purdy.
A little deal for being good at football. But regardless, Chiefs. You just do exactly what you did this season. I mean, there's really
the formula for the Chiefs is a little.
It's let Patrick Mahomes, it's sit and wait, kind of turtle in the hair, tortoise in the hair. Sorry, you let everybody kind of get ahead. You just hang back for as long as you can, and then whenever you need to, you just unleash Patrick Mahomes, just sneak into the playoffs, and you'll be good. Maybe get another receiver, maybe shore up the offensive line a little bit. If Chris Jones leaves, you got a little bit of an issue there, but
you find that in the draft potentially.
You find that in the draft, and I think the Chiefs are in a great spot to continue to do exactly what they did and win another Super Bowl.
I don't think Reed or Kelsey will retire either. I know that was a rumor. I think they're also in the same spot as where New England is now, was in their peak where they were good for 10 to 12 wins a season just because of the QB they had.
Right.
And I think also the Chiefs can maybe start to afford, let's say Chris Jones walks, they can start to take a little bit more risks, I'd say, with the front office and the personnel because they have Mahomes to shore up any. Let's say they go big and go let's just say T. Higgins wants to join the Chiefs and be that premium receiver for Mahomes. Let's just say Higgins, that's a lot of money. It doesn't work out. No one's going to blame Kansas City for.
No.
They can afford now to do what Belichick did and make some questionable moves. Not saying Higgins would be, but they're in a position to make moves and be like, oh, well, they have the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
They won 3 or 4.
They got 20 plus years of. We're okay. You can do whatever you want with the organization.
Yeah, we got Mahomes. He's good for 10 wins at least a year.
Exactly.
And once you get 15 in the playoffs, he should be the favorite to win the Super Bowl every time.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
This may have been a half hour to 35 minutes of us just, as the kids say, glazing Mahomes, but you got to respect the greatness. So, I know that got you. But, yeah, I think the Chiefs are going to be just fine, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, they'll be good.
AFC's got a little more questions, though.
And I'm sure we'll talk about that over the offseason. We got a lot of space to fill in. So
March Madness is coming up.
Yeah, it is. Go Tigers. We're going to end this episode here. I want to thank Zach and Connor for producing as always.
Yes,
We want to thank you
sir.
for tuning in. Go ahead and click all the buttons, like, subscribe, all that jazz. And we will see you next time. Have a good one.